Hello, this is Susanne McAllister with your newly weekly episode of the Susanne McAllister YouTube channel, and I'm the founder of the International Anxiety Academy. So welcome here today, and today I would love to talk about how you can turn your FOMO into JOMO and how to increase your JOMO. And if you're not thinking about if you're not sure about what I'm talking about, hang in there, it will all become clearer and clearer. So I work with people that are ambitious and anxious, that are functioning, but they're holding back. They're not quite doing the things they want to do. Sometimes I work with clients that are too anxious to really leave the house, or they're really super anxious and then they mess up job interviews. They have fears on how to talk to their spouses, to their boyfriends, or even to talk to somebody and ask them out even, and all the things that we might be struggling in our daily life with. And I also help parents with anxious children and anxious parents and to get them through the parenting and through life. All right, so let me talk a little bit about FOMO. And I am no exceptions in this. So I'm a licensed and registered psychotherapist. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm also a NIA and yoga teacher. So I am definitely know a little bit about anxiety. That's why I'm the anxiety expert. But that also means I'm still a person and I'm a human. And when I watch some social media, sometimes I get FOMO too. And FOMO is the fear of missing out. I listened to a talk about somebody, and that was before COVID, because he was talking about, FOMO is when you're in Bali having the best time and you're there and you're like around the pool with your friends or your family, and then you look at your phone and somebody is in Thailand and seeming to have even better time than you have, and you, even though you have everything, you have a holiday in paradise, you're there with your loved ones, you still feel you're missing out. And this is a real phenomenon that is only in the last years, like the last 10 years possibly, when we look at social media and Insta and how everything has to be just perfect, and we look at people's lives. So maybe sometimes we don't have such a good day, and then we scroll, which we do all the time. Like we spend so much time on our phones, we spend so much time on screens. This is the thing that we do. So you might be like in the line somewhere waiting, and you're scrolling your Insta or you're scrolling your Facebook, and everybody's looking amazing. They seem to have the perfect figure, they have the perfect life, they have the perfect jobs, they have the perfect food, they do all this amazing stuff. But what we don't think about is that this is like just a little snapshot. And I work a lot with teenagers, and it's a big thing with my clients where we talk about how come that we compare ourselves all the time. So tip number one is to stay in your lane. As soon as we compare ourselves with others, we really have lost it already, because we can only compare ourselves to ourselves and to try and live our best life. Nobody can live life the way I can. Nobody is who I am, with my talents and also with my faults. And that's cool. That makes me who I am. I'm not a robot, neither are my clients. So this is a non-judgmental space, which is completely positive just for you. All right, and what we want to achieve is JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. So in the ideal world, that would look like, well, there you are, you're looking at your phone and you're thinking, oh my God, everybody is so much better off. And where you catch yourself, so mindfulness is a big thing, where you become mindful and you're like, oh, so this is what's happening now. And then you take a deep breath and you switch your phone off. Ooh, for many of my anxiety clients, switching their phones off is not even an option. Leaving their phone behind, and that creates so much anxiety in their bodies. It's that they really feel they cannot live without, something bad would happen if they don't have their phone with them. So let's just say you switch it off, you put it away, you put it in the bag, and you just go like, right, so how can I make my moment now the best? And it might just be, if you're a mom, that you're deciding you're going to do some coloring in with your child, and you sit down and you take out the finger paints, or you paint the watercolors or the crayons and whatever it is, and you decide, hey, are we just going to paint, or we're going to go out into the garden, or we're going to go out into nature, and we're going to see how many shades of green we could find. And where you really connect with nature, and you really connect with yourself, and you really connect with your child. And that's the big thing is about JOMO, is the joy of missing out, the joy of choosing something different. And it's also about setting boundaries with yourself and boundaries with others. Boundaries there that will show you this is the line, and I will not be persuaded to do anything else in this today than to really connect with myself and to find joy in everything that I do. I've been teaching also Nia dance, and it's my 11th year today. And it's about finding the joy of movement in your body, and finding the joy of movement in your life, and seeing life as art, going through the forest and seeing all the beauty in there. And even if they're like sticks lying on the floor, really connecting with like, wow, look at that, like the leaves blowing over. I also tend to see in my house, see only the work. It's very seldom that when I'm here, that's why I have to go out. I have to go out into nature. I have to go out and do things, because when I'm here, I think, oh my goodness, this needs doing, and the trees need cutting back, and I see all this stuff. So it's really about give yourself like some mindful time, and you're like, right here, right now, what can I do to create that joy in my body? So one of the things that that really help for me is mindfulness, where I just sit down and I connect with my senses, and I go like smelling the moment, connecting to the sense of smell, and giving myself the deep breath, and like smelling the moment and tasting the moment. So especially when I'm in the forest, or when I'm out there in the sunshine. And so tasting the moment and smelling the moment, and touch, and even if it is just rubbing your hands together or touching the dog. Ooh, that's one of the best things, isn't it? Or of course, touching a tree when you're out there. So connecting to touch, to smell, to breath, and then seeing different colors. Just like you can close your eyes and then open them, and then see something that you haven't noticed before. And listening, just sitting on a bench and just listening, how many different things can you hear? And it might be the traffic, and it might be the birds. Connecting to all your senses, through the seeing and the hearing, the feeling, the touching. And really, so that's a very good mindfulness exercise to do, which is really super good. Let me see my little notes there. Stop multitasking. Multitasking is one of the things that, it was very much in the 80s or the 70s. Oh, the women can multitask and the guys can only focus on one thing. It's actually not true. We can't multitask. We can just jump from one thing to the other really quick, which really stresses us out. So how about if we focus just on the one thing, and we do the boring work that brings us towards mastery? I was speaking to a client today. She is learning to play an instrument that and she's actually really good. She like during the session she played something for me, and I thought she was really good. And she said the thing that she doesn't like is like the once she knows the piece, the polishing of it, that the piece that then you keep repeating and repeating and repeating. So it's the same when our children learn to walk. How often do they fall down, and then they get up, and they would never be walking if they wouldn't repeat the same move over and over and over. And and again, like I am just like you as well. I wanted to have like the fun bit, and then like, oh, if I wing it, and even if if I do it and I do it right. So once I know it, that's it. And then I'm like, oh, if I learn a song, I'll be like, okay, now the next one. And then, but the more we do it, the better we get. Look at Michael Jordan, what he says about his practice. He's like, the more I fail, the better I get, because the more we fail, the more we keep doing things. So that's one of the things as well. And grounding yourself. Grounding is so important. And again, is in nature too. Taking your shoes off and really putting your feet on the ground, digging your toes into the sand, grounding yourself with a tree, really thinking about like the roots of the tree going down into Mother Earth and the energy that we get there. So yeah, FOMO is also about noticing what's going on out there, and just being in the here and now, the mindfulness exercise that we have. So looking into someone's eyes is another one. And that's a tantric practice as well, where you're getting over the discomfort that we so often have looking into somebody's eyes and just breathing. So if you have a partner, and you can do this with your child as well, it's like really beautiful. So you put your hand on their heart and let they put their hand on your heart. And then you just sit opposite and you just breathe, hold the heart and hold the eye contact. It's a really beautiful thing. But most of all, it's really about finding the thing that gives you joy. So what is it that brings you joy? Maybe it's about putting on the music really loud and singing in the car when you're like going to work, or driving your child to school and just like dancing along. And or is it giving yourself the 5 minutes where you're just like, yes, let's do something? Because when we're there and our pleasure is to watch TV in the evening, you're missing life. Like so many of my clients, they have FOMO because they see it on all the screens. They see it on social media, and then at night the thing is to sit silently. Either everybody sits in their rooms, or they might sit there with their spouse, they might sit there with the kids, but they just watch TV. They're not engaging with each other. So switch the screens off, find a way to connect. Maybe you'll learn an instrument together, or maybe you take out the board games and work on the connection to yourself and the connection to your child and your partners. So I think it's a really good practice that we can do to switch off and to figure out how we can have FOMO, YOMO instead of FOMO, because the fear of missing out is just one of the things when we are not in our bodies, when we compare ourselves to others. Let's summarize that. And also when we live through the screen, when people get together and they talk about, what show do you watch? Because they don't have much else to say. They go to work, or they do their hobby, and they do the day-to-day grind. And then the most exciting thing is when they can finally escape, and then they sit on the couch and live through the TV series, which is never as exciting as real life can be. But then that's only with you. So have an adventure. Have an adventure. Find something what you can do. Go on a road trip. And I know like you might have restrictions, and even if you can go like out and you can be out in nature there and just go, all right, like I'm gonna go straight, and then you say to your child, where should we go, right, left? So you just explore and then find places close to home that you haven't been to and make it a holiday for the day and see what you can do. Maybe even read to each other. So that's just some of the tips today. They're all based in mindfulness. They're all based in the sense that it's time to, that we have FOMO when we're not connected with ourselves, and when we're too much on screens and not enough in our own heart. All right, so this is me. And yeah, FOMO causes anxiety in a lot of children and in a lot of adults as well. So if you want to know how to work with me, and if you want to know how to get some coaching, please get in contact. And I also have a 5-video series and a 5-video series for the adults and a 3-part video series for the parents with the anxious children. So go on to my website, SusanneMcAllister.com. That's SusanneMcAllister.com, and just subscribe and download your free tips there and your video series. And otherwise, I will see you next week for another new episode. Bye bye.